Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm here to tell our student stories at Ashworth College. Today, we are speaking with Tiffany Whitter, who was a psychology major here at Ashworth College. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So we came across your name through our Graduate of the Year submissions, and I don't know if you pieced it together yet or not, but this interview was set up because you are a Graduate of the Year finalist. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited.
It's very well deserved.
Yeah.
Just a little background for everyone. You started your degree in 2015. You're a married mom of two.
Yeah.
Completed your degree in 2021, and you interviewed for a promotion in 2 months later, and you received it.
Yeah.
You're now an educational therapist at a middle school. And as a mom, I definitely appreciate the type of work you do because it's so important.
Yeah.
And you've also started your master's degree in education in school counseling, correct?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. So what were you doing before you started at Ashworth?
So I was a paraeducator, working with primarily children with behavior challenges, and assisting the learning support teachers and classroom teachers, just helping students who had academic challenges and also behavior challenges be more successful in the classroom. So typically they call you teachers assistants, but the name changed, throughout the course of years, so it became a paraeducator. And then I had the pleasure of being an educational therapist assistant, working directly under an educational therapist. And that basically was the same role. So dealing with children who have behavior challenges in the classroom and outside of the classroom socially, and just helping them to be successful in the academic setting.
Such an important job to have, especially I have a 10-year-old daughter, so I see how important it is, that children have these support systems in place, especially in school. Sometimes they don't necessarily get it at home, and school has to provide that. So what made you decide on Ashworth? I can tell from your previous experience that's probably what led you into a psychology major, but what was it about Ashworth that pulled you in?
Well, I was in the process of looking to complete my bachelor's degree, but trying to find a program that suited my lifestyle, right? Being a mom of two, a wife, working full time with other commitments, just really trying to find a program that would fit my lifestyle, right? And so my father actually had heard about Ashworth, knowing that the schedule I can work at my own pace. So that was a selling point for me. And so I signed up, I emailed, I think I signed up and immediately got an email. And then kind of looking at what would be a good fit for my career as I moved through trying to get a promotion. And so when I saw the psychology degree, that stuck out to me, and that's in my field. And so that's kind of how my path came to Ashworth.
That's great. So being a mom, I definitely understand how difficult it is. It's the best job, but it can definitely be a struggle at times, especially if you're then coupling it with full-time work and then going to school. So obviously, I'm sure you faced a lot of challenges trying to deal with that. What were some of those challenges, and how did you work through them?
So when I first started in 2015, one of the main challenges was time, right? Setting aside time. There's not enough hours in a day just, for yourself. So really, I did find it challenging being up late nights, doing papers, Ashworth, very rigorous course. Studies. I enjoyed it, learned a lot, but it definitely required a lot of my time. So there were times where I missed out on activities that my children had, or family activities, or just time, right, to myself, to devote that time to make sure that I was putting forth a great effort to complete my degree. So a lot of my challenges just was kind of juggling life, full time, making sure that my family was okay, my own personal, hobbies or whatever, just really juggling time. It was sometimes overwhelming, yes.
Yep. Oh my goodness. So that makes it an even bigger achievement, because It really is. I think it's hard enough for moms sometimes to try and find that personal time in the calmest of scenarios. So when you really do, but I mean, I think that's also kind of just what we do. We just
Yeah,
we take on a lot and we just find a way through it.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
did you set like schedules or to-do lists for yourself, anything like that? Like just tips or tricks to kind of, help yourself situate and guide yourself through this that maybe some people listening to this right now might be able to take some value or advice from?
Yes. So I made sure, so I worked in a school system, I worked in my local middle school system, and school finishes at 3:30. So I had to be very intentional about my time after work. Okay, so definitely making sure that my children's schedule was kind of in alignment with my schedule. My husband and I work closely together. There were some times where I couldn't necessarily pick them up from activities, but I knew that at a certain time I had to start my degree work. So no later than 8 p.m. Would I be actually starting my degree work, right? Because I wanted to make sure that at least I gave at least 4 to 5 hours of intense, studying and quizzes and writing papers. Now, sometimes that did go over, but I kind of wanted to give my time, a frame of like 5 hours to kind of really buckle down and do what it is that I had to do for the evening. So 8 o'clock was my cutoff that everyone had to kind of leave mommy alone. And I would be buried in my computer.
Definitely. And would you say that taking time for yourself is important? I know, like we said, sometimes you kind of forget about that, but
Yeah.
sometimes I think it is necessary to just maybe like set things aside, whether it's like the cooking, the laundry, dusting, whatever, or your schoolwork. So did you find that sometimes you had to just take a step back and say, like, hang on, I need to just reassess, take a minute for myself?
Yes. So as you said, as mothers, we do, right? We want to cook, we want to clean, we want to do everything. But I really had to like have a family meeting to say, this is what, this is what I'm doing. This is going to help me catapult me into a different kind of realm in my career. And so I really needed, my family, my children are teenagers now. So really sitting down and kind of having that conversation, if you have a spouse or, children or any type of support system, so that they knew where I was trying to go, and knowing that I may not always be able to cook that meal or fill clothes or do laundry. But it's very important that if you do have people around you, kind of explaining, this is your goal, this is what you're trying to do, and this is the type of time that you'll need to achieve what it is that you want to achieve.
Definitely. So what did you find were the best parts of your program that you completed? What did you really enjoy? What aspects of it did you find most beneficial in your job?
Well, first of all, I would just like to say everything about my experience with Ashworth College was first class. Just being a working mother and having a program that understands that people do want to advance in their career, but sometimes time is not always on our side. So I think that because Ashworth it's kind of at your pace, it allows you to pace yourself. I was able to really read the material, quizzes, the papers. I learned so much from the class. And even though it's not in person, the material I found was extremely in depth, and it really allowed me to really go deeper, just to learn more about what it is that I wanted to do.
Oh, that's great. And did you hit any like bumps in the road or roadblocks where you had to, maybe reach out to the school or avail yourself to some of the resources that are out there, whether it's the student community or, the instructors directly, and what was your experience with that?
Anytime. No, there was a couple of courses where I was, it was a little shaky. Math isn't my strong point, so I had a statistics class
I feel you.
I had a statistics class that I was like, oh boy, right? This is gonna be fun. Anytime I reached out to Ashworth, I always was able, someone was always available. They were always able to kind of work me through any of the issues that that I was coming up against. And just all in all, just the experience, I never felt like I was alone, even though it wasn't in person. Someone was always available on the phone, willing to help, whether it had to do with payment or classwork. I appreciated that someone was just always available to help.
That's so great to hear, because I think sometimes people get a little bit intimidated with the idea of an online school because they think they're kind of just out there on their own floating around, and that it's just like, here's your stuff, get to work, and you are alone. But you're not at Ashworth. You have these support systems in place to make sure you do succeed. And so it's really great hearing that from somebody who's actually been through it and used it. And, it's not just something we say, it's something that we actually do.
Absolutely. And being, I live in Bermuda, right? So, I'm miles away, but just being able to just pick up the phone sometimes and just say, hey, can I get help with this? And someone being available and willing, definitely was something that pushed me through and made me comfortable on my journey as I, work towards achieving my bachelor's degree.
That's so great. So you obviously got a promotion since you started the program. Do you think Ashworth helped to give you, obviously, I think, it probably helped you academically, to get to that point, but do you think it also helped with your confidence? Sometimes, at least in my personal experience, sometimes if you're going up for a promotion or trying to apply to a different job, sometimes you get like a little bit of that imposter syndrome and you feel a little bit like, oh, is this really a good fit for me? Am I really a good fit for this? Do you think that it helped you in those terms?
Absolutely. It's always, for me in my career, I think that I've always had the skill set. But as we know, we live in a professional world where a degree is important, right? I say it now, sometimes a bachelor's degree feels like the basic that people want, right? As we move along as the world moves along. And so with my bachelor's degree, it definitely gave me confidence now to be able to go, right, and interview for a job now that I feel that I was qualified for. And also, as I read the material and I was going through my coursework with Ashworth, it kind of gave me confidence. As I was reading through coursework, it was kind of like I already had that kind of experience. So I was able to apply that to my schoolwork. But since getting my degree, absolutely, it has boosted my confidence to be able to just go forth and do what it is that I need to do for my career. It has pushed my career to a whole new level.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I'm so happy for you. And that was actually one of the questions, how you've been able to apply like the actual information you learned to your job. Obviously, the credential helped you go forward and receive a promotion, but how have you been able to actually apply that in your job? Sometimes you go to school, you learn certain things, then you get to your job and it's like, okay, well, I have this credential and it got me here, but this is a totally different ball game. It doesn't necessarily translate the same way. So have you been able to apply that, the actual skill sets and the information to your job and use them?
Absolutely. So working as a behavior therapist, the psychology degree works hand in hand, right? Dealing with behavior, I do sessions with children to just counsel them on how it is that they can move forward, and just, being better in school, right? And having a more successful experience. And so my psychology degree, as I said before, as I was going through it, I kind of saw myself, because this is something that I'm doing, right? So originally I was an educational therapist assistant underneath an educational therapist. But as I was doing my coursework with Ashworth, I was actually able to see how it can be applicable to my job. As I was going through these psychology courses. And so absolutely, my psychology degree, the knowledge that I learned has just pushed me forth into what it is that I need to do. And that's why I was successful and got a promotion. So yeah, it definitely has increased my knowledge on so many levels.
That's so great. So what are your goals going forward, both professionally and academically? I know you said, you're starting your master's degree, or you just started your master's degree. What are your plans for the future?
So currently, I actually was accepted to Liberty University in their Masters of Education in School Counseling with a specialization in marriage, family and marriage counseling. And so my ultimate goal is to pursue a career as a school counselor and also eventually open up a private practice. I have a passion for helping people. I have a passion for helping young people, middle-aged people, older people, that my passion is to just help people to thrive in life, right? Whatever that looks like. And so definitely my psychology degree was my first step. And then hopefully in another 2 years, I would graduate with my master's degree and just move forward from there.
That's so wonderful. Like a lot of people, I think, the importance of psychologists and people with that type of background is becoming so much more prominent, especially, after what the world has been through in the past. And even, without any of that, mental health is so important. And it's something that I think, it's at least, maybe 5-10 years ago, it wasn't talked about quite as much as it is now. And I think it's really, really important to put a focus on those things, especially at a young age, working with children. Kids unfortunately see and experience a lot of things that children shouldn't have to go through, but it really does help. Unfortunately, if they are in that situation, it does help to set them up their path in life than, maybe they would be without it. But even adults, we all need a little help sometimes, even if it's just to, go and talk to somebody just to get something off your chest and just, work through things. It doesn't have to be something huge or catastrophic or life altering, but just to have that peace of mind and have that exercise, I think is just so important. So thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. Like I said, helping is a passion of mine. That's what kind of pushed me to study psychology for my bachelor's degree. And like you said, right now there's so much going on, right? Just since 2020, it's been such a shift. And people have really been struggling. There's a rise in suicide amongst teens and adults, and so that's something that I take very seriously. And so I'm just looking forward to what the possibilities are. And being a graduate of Ashworth of this psychology degree, my bachelor's degree has just opened up so many doors, and I'm just excited for what's to come.
Oh, that's great. We're really excited for you.
Thank you.
So if someone was on the fence about going back to school, what would you say to them? I mean, it can definitely be intimidating. Like I mentioned imposter syndrome earlier, especially if it's an adult learner, it's kind of hard sometimes to go back into that, is it the right time? Am I capable of doing this? We see a lot of our students who, a good portion of our students are moms, are working moms. What would you recommend to them as somebody who's been in that situation?
I think the best advice that was given to me by a professional mentor, don't look at your current life situation, think of the life that you want to live, right? Because with a degree, comes promotion, it comes financial benefit with it. So although it may seem hard, there are going to be some late nights, always keep that end in view. What is it that you want to get out of it, and what would the benefit be for you, right? I think that's always important. So I always kept the end in view of what it is that I would benefit and how my life would improve personally for myself. Yes, I have children. Yes, I'm married, but this was something that I did for myself. This is something I've always wanted to do. And so just look at what it is that you want to do, where it is that you want your career to go, and kind of always have that at the back of your mind, that at the end, and when you are successful and you graduate, what type of possibilities and so many doors that will be open for you.
Oh, wow. I love that advice. I think that's so great. And sometimes I think it is hard for people to take note of that. They just see what's immediately in front of them and they don't look at the long range picture. And it is hard. It's really hard to do sometimes, because sometimes it does feel like it's so far away. But if you can put that in your viewfinder, in your sights, it's a little bit easier. It's those big goals that you want to reach. So that being said, if somebody were, okay, fine, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take that step, and they're thinking about Ashworth, but they're not sure because it's an online school perhaps, or just because, they don't have a lot of information about the program. What, from your perspective, what would you recommend?
I would recommend the first thing to do is sign up. Once I found that once I signed up with Ashworth, everything happened very quickly, and the pursuit of it, it kind of got me excited. So there were emails that Ashworth would send to kind of say, hey, we see that you signed up with us. What more information do you need to know? And that kind of helped me, push me. It gets you excited, and then it pushes you to want to pursue, like, what is this? What more can I find out? So my encouragement would be the first step to sign up. Just see what it is, talk to a representative from Ashworth to kind of get a feel for what it is that you want to do. I would also recommend that whatever profession you were looking to get into, kind of feel your way out and have conversations with those that are already in the profession to just make sure that the degree program or certificate program that you will take with Ashworth is in alignment with the profession that you want to be a part of, right? So that when you do graduate, there is a natural progression. Ashworth their degree is accepted, right? And you just want to make sure that you're in alignment with whatever it is you want to do. So I would say first steps to just have some conversations, professional conversations with people in the profession that you're looking to do, and then have a conversation with a representative from Ashworth. And from there, they'll be able to guide you as to what your, better next steps.
Wonderful. Thank you. And just on a final note, so I kind of sprung it on you, you're a finalist, but just not that you really got a whole ton of time right now, but just in this little brief moment, what does, how did that feel? What does that mean for you?
Emotional. And this journey for me has been a very long journey. It actually started when I came out of high school, but unfortunately my family, we didn't have the funds or means to send me away to school, right? And I think that's many people's story. And so I went into the workforce at an early age. My parents have always been behind me, encouraging me, and so this is just, I don't know, it's surreal, right? Because at one point you just never think that you're ever going to achieve this goal. And so I'm extremely honored at 42 years old to not only, graduate with my bachelor's degree in psychology, but be honored as graduate of the year. Like, you just never think that's something, you can achieve like anything. You can achieve anything if you just work hard and put your mind to it. Like, nothing is impossible. So I am extremely honored. This is a surreal moment. Just being here, I'm like, graduate of the year.
Yeah, we had a lot of applicants, and yours really stood out as one of our finalists. And we were I read it, and again, like your story, I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to, and not to take away its uniqueness, but I think it's important to for people, especially like with some of my earlier questions, to have somebody with whom they can associate and resonate and be like, okay, well, they did it, so I can do it too.
Absolutely. Never give up, guys. It's, dreams is just that. Like, a dream can always be achieved. And I just feel like I'm at a point now where, I can breathe. When I got my degree mailed to me, I had a moment of tears, right? Because it's just a surreal moment. I never thought that this something that, would come to pass, but I'm thankful that I'm here, and I'm just looking forward to what is to come. It's given me a boost to just be hopeful for what's to come. I'm excited.
Well, we're excited for you. Thank you.
Thank you.